morning traders, welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me John on this Monday the 30th of October. So obviously going into month end now, so we're going to see a little bit of month end flows going on. We've got the trend traders and day traders table showing us some differences from last week. Obviously we were very sort of New Zealand dollar weakness at the start of last week, very heavy into that. That has faded away now, and you can see although Kiwi remained W1 here, it's no longer here on our day traders table, showing us that the lower time frames are not showing that Kiwi weakness anymore at this current moment in time. Obviously that could shift this week, however at the moment we don't see that. What it is telling us is that we should be looking for longs on Aussie Swiss potentially, Swiss franc being one of the weaker currencies. It was one of the strongest. Aussie Swiss could be something interesting to watch. To be honest, I haven't even looked at the Aussie Swiss chart, so maybe we can do that together. What I've been looking into though is the pound US dollar. We can see cable here appears at the bottom of the day traders as well as the trend traders table for potential short trading opportunities, with the US dollar being a strong currency, pound being a weak one. CAD's also something I'm pretty interested in at this current moment in time. Obviously we were very sort of heavily weak on CAD last week as well. We looked at a Euro CAD long. I'm just going to go over and kind of cover that as well. So what have we got on the slate for this week? It's going to be a very high impact data driven week, to be honest. Lots of data coming out. If we just have a look at the weekly one over here, I'm just going to put it on high impact and click apply, and you can see today obviously we've got some data out of Europe. We've got GDP data out of Germany. We've also got German CPI data coming up at 1 p.m. Tuesday we've got some big manufacturing PMIs out of China. We've then got CPI out of Europe and CB consumer confidence, and then we get kicking into sort of the interest rate decisions for the week. So we've got an FOMC Fed interest rate decision, potentially holding interest rates there. Bank of England looking to do the same at 5.25%, and then we finish the week off with NFP. We also have a BOJ announcement as well. That's not showing up here. Maybe it'll show up if I go and click into the sort of medium impact. We do have a Bank of Japan interest rate decision at some point as well. It's not showing up here right now unless I've just missed it flicking through there, but we do have that coming up as well, so I do want to make you aware of it. Today though, like I said, we've had some data already out of Europe, got a little bit more this afternoon, and then we've got some CAD data, Bank of Canada Governor Macklem actually speaking. So lots of high impact data which would affect Euro CAD. Let's go flick over to the charts then. So this is pound Aussie. I'm actually going to flick over to Euro CAD first, because we did like the idea of going long here, and I did actually go long already. I ended up taking a very small loss on this one because price wasn't doing what I thought it would do, plus we had the tables update with us and say that Euro and CAD are on the same side of the day traders table. That to me is a hard exit, because that's showing that both currencies are weak. Both currencies could be range bound. So how I entered that position last week was I looked at basically the close above the 50 moving average here. I was looking to see if we'd get the acceleration to the upside. We didn't have that, so I closed my position out. It just so happened, I did say like I would be watching it again. But we then had heavy news data out, news-driven event, and then that obviously drove prices to the upside. I was considering getting long here this morning. There was another break above the 50 MA on this 30-minute chart, and I was thinking about getting long here, trying to target this swing high, for instance. But I've kind of backed out of this move now because we don't have Euro on the tables, and there was a lot of Euro data out this morning. So that to me is a little bit of a coin toss at that point. You're going to be, you're a winner or a loser anyway, but you are just making the odds 50-50 in that sense when you're trying to trade it with regards to a news event. So looking at it from a daily and a weekly though, I still do like the idea of price moving towards this area up here around about the 1.4800. It's just not on our radar right now, apart from that CAD weakness obviously. But if we do see any kind of developments on the tables with Europe or Euro coming on to the tables, then maybe we consider looking for a long again in this particular market. Dollar CAD obviously featured very heavily on the tables last week as well. If I just bring that back in, we can see here that dollar CAD was here. If I go back to our kind of rolling data as well, you can see Friday dollar CAD appeared as well. It also appeared on Thursday and as well as Wednesday. So it featured very heavily for us last week. I was not necessarily looking to get long because price was already at this level of resistance. It did come back, it did break back above the 50 and did rally by about 40-50 pips. So maybe I should have looked for that long there, but we are coming into big levels of resistance now. One spot 38.50, this zone here that basically formed back in March of 2023. We're in that zone of resistance now, so I would much rather be looking for longs back down at 137.50. If we do breach this 138.50 level, then the next sort of area of interest would be more towards the one spot 38.80 and this sort of zone up in here, and you can see we're very close to that zone anyway. So I don't want to get long into those resistance points basically. So dollar CAD, I'm a little bit more interested in seeing it actually start to pull back a little bit. Whether it will or not, obviously, is a different question. You know, we have to see if price, you know, sees selling develop. It may not. Price may just continue to push to the upside. In that case, you know, we might try and look for a long, maybe off the hourly 50 MA. But yeah, I didn't see the value in getting long there at resistance because it could have just continued to pour back to the 137.50 handle. Let's go on to cable then. So cable, interesting market for us. Pound US dollar featured on the tables as a potential short opportunity. We can see here that we're obviously in a downward trend. Price recently rejected an area. Sorry, let me just change the properties on here so we don't get those popping up on this higher time frame. If you want to do that, just click properties, go into visualization, click all time frames, and then you can just knock it off there, and then you can then go down to your lower time frames and see them appear again. So sorry, just a quick empty demo there in the middle of that, but you've got this trend line resistance running through, and you can see that we're clearly in a downward trend here on cable. Price tried to breach that trend line last week, it failed. We've just traded lower, gone a little bit sideways towards sort of Thursday, Friday, and today. We are coming into a key level of support. This 1.2050 level is something I quite like the idea of price finding support at. So one or two things need to happen for us. We need the price to kind of pull back a little bit, and then we can look for the short, or we wait for a breach of breach of 1.2050, and then I'd be looking for price to come down towards these daily swing lows at 1.11850. That's what I kind of like. If we go into the 4-hour time frame, I've marked out a couple of zones of interest. So we've got the 1.2275 where we obviously found clear resistance here as well with the 200 4-hour moving average there. We moved quite significantly from that point, about 200 pip to the downside move. And I've also marked out this level. Now, this level's more of an hourly high level. You can see that we formed this high on Friday, which is 1.2150. We rejected in and around here, and we started to fall to the downside. So I have marked this zone out again because what I want to see is how does price react to that sort of Friday high. If we kind of come into it and we see price kind of form like a double top pattern or a rejection, this could be a really good place for us to try and get short, trying to target these kind of swing lows that are already in place for us. If price breaches through this level, I think then it's going to open up a door up towards that one spot 2250 area or 2225. Sorry, 2275 is the level up in here, which is just running through there. But this zone essentially that formed from that sort of 4-hour breakdown, that's also another level that I kind of like. But I think this is going to be a very important level. If we breach Friday's high, I think buyers will want to try and seek higher prices, especially if it trades above this high in here as well, because obviously we have a lot of downward pressure. We pull back, a lot of downward pressure. If price is going to try and break highs, it might seek these highs to try and, get those sort of liquidity points. So I like this one spot 2150 area in here. That to me is it's a decent level to look at. I've set an alert there at one spot 2150. You could be sort of aggressive if it gets into this level. You could look to then sell one spot 2140, stop loss above the high one spot 2170, and look to try and target sort of a 30 to 60 pip sort of move to the downside there. I'm going to watch price action at that point, to be honest. I'm going to have a little look to see if we get any kind of sort of divergences turn up. Maybe if we go to the 30 time frame, we get like a double top pattern, price making a higher high, stochastic making a lower high. That would be an initiation for me to get short in there as well. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of look for here. I'm going to see if we can try and get price come into a level of resistance. Once it's in the level of resistance, how does it react? Do we see those sellers getting involved at that point? So yeah, pound US dollar, the one for the day, really focusing on that potential move up into that level. Alert set at one spot 2150. We'll look to see if there's any kind of reaction around that point. Just to kind of go onto some other charts that we traded, then obviously New Zealand dollar was a chart that we traded. We were initially up about 50 pips on this. I've then got out for pretty much break even. That looks to have been the right thing to do at this current moment in time. Like I said, Kiwi has moved away from the tables on the day trader side of things, so it does look like it was a good decision to get out of this move, because price now looks to be heading and seeking higher prices there. Same with Euro Kiwi. It did start to spike up a little bit higher, but now come back down. Would be offside on this one as well. The only one that I've gotten out of, but the only reason I did it was because we were coming into the close on Friday. I personally don't like halting trades over a weekend. That's something that obviously you can do, but yeah, I ended up getting short a little bit better than the original order. The original orders here marked in the blue as entry, red as the stop loss, green as full targets. So if you are still in this position, you're about just over 1-to-1 up at this current moment in time. We were about 100 pips up into that low there, but you can obviously, this is a significant low and price has found support. What we want to see, obviously, pound being on the weak side of the tables and Oz being the stronger one, which is good for this particular market. We want to see price try and trade through this low now and try and head down towards that level. I'm trying to look for another entry into this market, so let's break down and see why or how we could look for that other entry. If I go to the 4-hour time frame, what I like to do is identify key levels of support and resistance. Obviously this one is the one that I pointed out previously. We can see that a high actually formed around about the 91.34 handle where we entered on that other trade. And yeah, so that doesn't look too bad for another entry point, to be honest. If price came back up into this level here and decided it wanted to sort of reject, maybe in line with this hourly 50 MA, I wouldn't mind actually seeing that kind of rejection in there. The only other one I quite like the idea of is looking a little bit more aggressive in terms of time frame. We can see here on the hourly around about this high, one spot 9077 and above could be something to watch out for. So if price was to come back into that level there, maybe I might look to see how price reacts at that point. Do we get sort of aggressive selling coming back in there, and can we look for the trade short? So I'm going to set an alert here at one spot 9075.76, and I will see if price can pull back, because I still quite like the idea of being short this market. Let's actually go and pick Aussie Swiss out then. Obviously I haven't actually taken a look at this market yet, so let's do it together because we are looking for potential longs in this market. So let's flick up to the daily chart first. Let's see what price is up to, because Aussie Swiss was something we actually featured a couple of weeks ago, I think, for the short. And you know, price I was watching at the time potentially coming back into this zone of interest in here. So this is the 0.5600 sort of level down through there. Again, I'm just going to put a little price label on that. So around about 560 in there. Oh, actually that's a little bit lower than I wanted to see. Let's go 5.6. Let's go quarter 5, 6 and a quarter in there. So yeah, there's a potential move I can definitely see from that support point. Just again, I like to highlight the sort of key areas of highs and stuff like that. So I'm already looking at this high as a potential area for price to go and seek out for potential longer term sort of targets. That is around about 150 pips away from current price, so there could be some good potential to go in this market. We've got 0.59 up at this point as well, so that's interesting to see. What other things have we got? I can see that there's obviously a minor high rolling through here that price is breaching at the moment, which is good for us because I imagine we can then go to the lower time frame and maybe have a look at that one. I'm just going to make these a little bit even. I like to kind of make them even at the end, so just look a little bit better. So we're obviously breaching this high here, which is around about the 0.5740. If it breaches that one, we could go and target 0.5800 up to that 0.59. Let's put a trend line on here as well, just to kind of add confluence to that. So we'll anchor it from the high back on the 29th of September. We can see that it then kind of had a test on the 11th of October as well as the 25th of October. We've now breached that trend line. So that's obviously adding confluence to potential long opportunities. Let's go into the 4-hour time frame then. Let's see if there's kind of anything for us to try and get on to a potential opportunity here. Obviously, we gapped on the open to the downside a little bit, and price has then continued to push higher. What can we have a look at here? You're just going to narrow that down slightly. We're breaching that. I think if we try and reject anywhere in there, then maybe price is going to want to try and come back towards this low through here, around about the 0.57 handle. So we'll just pop 0.57. Obviously, those daily lows just down through there as well. So yeah, I think potentially there's that to have a little look at. We're breaching this area now, so what it looks like to me is that we may get a breach, retest, continuation. I would like a low to kind of build through there. Let me just go down to the hourly. Let's just see if there's anything on the hourly. Yeah, we're kind of getting a little bit of support here at the 0.5730 handle. I'm just going to make this into a little bit of a zone as well. I'll just copy that up. Potentially in here is where I'm looking at the moment. So yeah, I think let's set an alert there. Again, I want to be looking to get long from sort of key areas of support and resistance. If price continues to push higher here, it could pull back and then continue. We've got the 0.58 for targets as well as the 0.59. So I like the idea of the daily chart. It's breaking through key levels of resistance here, which, you know, adds a lot of confluence to higher potential moves. Let's have a look at the weekly. Let's see how that's panning out. Oh yeah, look at that. That's kind of breached that weekly highs already. So this one looks pretty good for some longs this week. So I think this is also going to be pretty high on our list to have a little look at some opportunities. At the moment, though, cable is a little bit more favorable just because of where price is in relation to key areas of support and resistance. So yeah, set an alert at 121.50. And we'll have a little look if price kind of reaches that point. Thanks for watching this video update. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a lot on the slate this week, remember, so it might be good to look at your risk profile this week. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.